Okay, so welcome to the inaugural AgoraTalks. So this is an event that Kieran and I conceived basically to both celebrate and highlight exemplary senior thesis projects that we felt otherwise weren't getting the exposure that they deserve.
Second, a wheel can always be a tweak. As an engineer growing up, I was always taught about the expression, don't reinvent the wheel. Well, that sort of gets us stuck sometimes. But in my opinion, there's always ways to improve it. Ball bearings, oil, you can always work on it. Don't get stuck with the base idea. Last, planning ahead.
So this is what I concluded. Scratch programming is an effective medium through which elementary school-age kids learn computational thinking concepts. Certain types of projects, namely games, expose them to more of the key concepts. And they'll develop problem-solving and reflective strategies that will be useful in both programming and non-programming domains. But I think further research needs to examine scratch programming in structured and unstructured environments to determine how elementary students learn best.
We found EGCG, which rapidly degrades SEM1 and SEM2 amyloid, but it's interesting that it only very slowly degrades other amyloid particles in semen that enhance HIV transmission, meaning that each of the amyloid in semen that enhance HIV transmission are different and react differently to different small molecules. So it'll be useful to test. It's useful to test these different small molecules on all the components.
This is the reason to talk about this issue, to talk about the way that racial attitudes and resentment affect our discourse on government spending and activism. It's because Willie Horton is not the only victim of this sort of language. The victims are everyone who could benefit from a more robust public policy that prioritized the sorts of issues with which Johnson was concerned: poverty alleviation, social mobility, etc. So I'll leave you with this last line, Lyndon Johnson. The Great Society rests on abundance and liberty for all. By fully incorporating all Americans into this society, we would only increase the sum and bounty of this nation and not detract from it. In a time of unprecedented inequality and social discord, I think we would do well to remember Johnson's words.
Ernst Kissinger wrote in the first half of the 20th century, and he attributed veneration to the product of barbarian invasions and the resulting political insecurity. The emperor's power, the Roman emperor's power, had gotten weak in the 5th century, and since the emperor could not protect his subjects, Kissinger claimed, the population started turning to images or icons to protect themselves from the barbarian invasions.
So my multimedia installations in Thesis exhibition are composed of materials such as wood, hand-blown glasses, fabrics, CRT TV monitors, and video projections. By layering various media, I'm trying to construct and explore liminal spaces in which flatness and three-dimensionality and stillness and movement coexist and interact.
So my work actually investigates a certain molecule that can bind to quadruplexes. And that molecule is called N-methyl mesoporphyrin 9. And here's a picture of the structure. You don't have to remember what it looks like. And just know that I call it NMN for future reference. So why do I study NMN? And the reason goes back to the picture of the chromosome that I showed you earlier. Only a small portion of the chromosome can actually form G quadruplexes. Most of the chromosome consists of duplex DNA, or the double helix that we usually see. So why is it good to have to study NMM? NMM actually binds selectively to quadruplex DNA over duplex DNA. And this is good for a pharmaceutical because you don't want something that just binds willy-nilly throughout the cell. You want something that's specific to your target.